Hello everyone. Yeah, I have been sort of at a standstill with videos just because I've been like really busy and I'm not sure if I mentioned this in any of my previous videos, but I ended up losing my phone a few months ago and I did have to get a new one. And in my old phone, I had like in the notes like a bunch of video topics that I wanted to cover, like a lot. Like it was like three like note pages of videos that I wanted to talk about. But since I've lost my phone, I don't have those notes anymore, nor were they backed up into any sort of cloud. I don't have them. And now I'm always just sitting around like, what do I want to talk about? What do I want to make a YouTube video about? I don't know. So yeah. So I have had people ask about my Mason Pearson brush. No, I have had people ask me about my parrot. So in the beginning of my YouTube channel, he has been in a few of my videos. Since he has not, because he's not here, I don't want people to think that I was like really terrible at editing videos, because I wasn't. I'm the same level of terribleness as I was back then now, as I do use Windows Movie Maker to edit my videos, nothing fancy. But yeah, you may have noticed that my videos are not as like choppy as they were because I don't have a bird in this room screaming every single time I want to make a video or try to speak. What happened to my bird? So people have been asking me because some people have inevitably noticed that there's no bird anymore. Whether that be from the video editing or from the lack of bird screaming or what have you, the bird is not in my room anymore. And I feel sort of bad, but then I don't really feel bad. So this is the issue. So I wanted a parrot about 7 years ago, and I went looking for one, and I was debating between like a Quaker or an Eclectus, which is what I really, really wanted, but I didn't have the budget for one, or an Indian ringneck, or like some sort of Amazon. And I wasn't about to buy from a pet store, and I did do my research, and I looked up a couple of breeders in my area. I went to visit them in their homes, and I didn't really like what I saw. Like everything was dirty, like the birds were kept in tiny cages and in like tiny, like, you know, those like sheds that you buy at Home Depot, those plastic ones. And the breeders that I met were like really mean to their birds. Like we would walk past the birds and the birds would get excited and the breeder would be like, shut the fuck up, like, you know. So I didn't really want a bird that was like constantly cursed at, especially for a parrot, because parrots are like small children and they can also talk to an extent, and I didn't want to get a bird that like cursed without me teaching it how to curse. So I went on eBay Classifieds one day and I saw someone selling a bird for $300. It was an Indian ringneck albino, and their house was easy enough to get to by mass transit, so I went to go and check it out with no intention of buying the bird. I went to their house, and it was an Indian family, and they had so many kids. So many. And each of their children had their own individual pets. So they had pretty much like an entire pet store, which is fine. If you like animals, you do whatever you want, okay? Like have a zoo, like I don't care. The issue is all of these animals are very poorly kept. They kept rabbits under their dining room table. They had hamsters in those little plastic carrier thingies. And one of the kids was like, oh, you want to see my hamster? So I was like, sure, because, you know, what kids, whatever. So he grabs the hamster. The hamster, of course, bites him, and he throws the hamster. And the mom just looked at me, and she was like, kids will be kids. And it's just like, yeah. And, yeah, so they had, like, bird cages on the floor. And they had, like, these two lovebirds. And the female lovebird had like one wing because the other wing got ripped off by the male lovebird. And I was like, is that okay? And then the mom was like, oh yeah, you know, the male lovebird like bit her wing off the other day. I get, because there was like blood still. And she's like, I need to take them to the vet. And I was just like, okay. Should have really called animal control at that point, but I wasn't really thinking about it. And also this was before the time I had a smartphone, so it's not like I could have Googled animal control. And so they bring out the bird for me, the one that I had, which is the albino Indian ringneck, and he's cute. The first thing that I noticed is they like clipped his wings. So when you clip a bird's wings, you're only supposed to clip the first couple of feathers, like the first 4 or 5 feathers. They clipped like every single flight feather that he had. So when he jumped out of their hands, he just fell on the floor like a rock. And I was just like, how old is this bird? And they were like, oh, he's like 8 months. And I was just like, I don't think so. How old is the bird? And they were like, no, he's like 8 months. And I'm like, I don't think so, because I'm not stupid. This bird's not 8 months. This bird is probably like more than a year old. And they're like, no, I swear, like we hatched him ourselves. This bird's 8 months old. And at that point, I was just like so disgusted with everything that I saw. That I know there's more than that, but those were just like the worst things that I saw. And so I thought about it, and I thought about like all of the blatant animal abuse that I saw in their home, and I was like, you know what, $300 really isn't that bad of a deal for this breed of bird. He's albino. His value goes up significantly because he's albino. And I really want to save an animal out of this situation if I can. And so I brought the bird, I went back to their house like a week later, I gave them the money, and I took the bird home. This bird is an asshole. Like, he is so mean. I've had him for like 7 years, going on 8. He's still very mean. And whatever. So now I own this bird. So I take him to the vet. So I go to a special avian and exotics vet. I don't take my animals to the regular cat and dog vet because cat and dog vets don't know exotics and vice versa. So I take this bird to the vet, and they just look at the bird and they look at me. And I was just like, okay, I know what you're thinking. I just got this bird. Do not look at me like that. And they're just like this bird was like so messed up that I'm sure that they thought that I was abusing the bird, and I was like, I literally got this bird a few days ago. This is how I got the bird. Like, the fuck? Don't look at me like that. Like, do you really think that I did this? Because I also have a rabbit that they see, and it's just like, you see my rabbit doesn't look anything like this bird. Like, if I treated my rabbit the same way I treated this bird, my rabbit would look messed up too. So yes, that is the story. So they just like checked it out and they were like, let his feathers grow back and don't touch them. And I'm like, obviously I didn't do this. Like, fuck you. So I haven't been back to that vet in a while, but all's checked out. He was fine. He was estimated to be more than 1 year old, obviously. And the vet said that he looked like a boy, which I also assumed that he was a boy. To this day, he hasn't laid any eggs, so I keep assuming that he is a boy. And the day an egg comes out, I will then confirm that he is a girl. But that is how I got my bird. So this video was supposed to be why I do not have the bird anymore. So because the story of me getting him took so long, I am going to end this video here, and I am going to continue my story in the next video on why I don't have the bird anymore. So if you are interested in the real reason of why I don't have the bird, please stay tuned for the next video. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye!